Coaches, what's going on? It's Coach Ian Tatum here, back with the Tatum Clinic series. And today, I got a good buddy of mine, Holmes. He's the head football coach at Cox Mill High School here in North Carolina. Coach, has been great to come on and talk a little pin and pull with us today. Coach, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. We've been trying to get this done for a minute, but our spring breaks lined up, and we're like, hey, man, let's get it done. So
Right.
awesome to be able to do this. You want to go ahead and hit present, and we'll share your screen. We'll pull up your huddle and get it going.
All right.
Let's see.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yep, I got you. You're good to go.
Good to go.
Yes, sir. You're good. I'm gonna back out. You got it.
All right. Well, hey, first of all, appreciate Coach for having me on. It's always a pleasure to learn ball and see the things you're doing. And so, just want to come on here a little bit and talk about pin and pull run concept that we've kind of ran for about 3 years. We've kind of made some, additions to it and also changed some things the way we do it. But want to get into why we do it. So for the first, thing to talk about is the what and the why of the pin and pull. Pin and pull is a perimeter run. It creates running lanes, also exploits defensive gaps. It's a little bit different than your zone, whether you call it stretch, wide, outside. Because you don't really have additions to gaps unless you're doing like a zone lead with, a fullback or H back. And so I think that pin and pull does put a little bit of stress on the defense to make sure that they have gap integrity, but also that they're fitting the gaps when we add additional gaps to the front side of the play. I like it, and I think that we've had success with it because it's versatile against different fronts. Um, haven't always in my stops had the luxury of coaching offensive linemen that's 6'3", 260. We've always had kind of smaller guys or guys that just haven't had that experience playing O-line. And so I think that this has been a simple run concept to kind of help guys that don't have as much experience or as far as like just their body wise and strength, they're not ready for it because of the angles it gives you. I think it allows, again, you to put those linemen on second and third level defenders. We all know that, safeties, corners, right? When they're in practice, they're not uh, going through how to defeat blocks all the time. They're playing coverages and things like that. And so I think that it allows us to put bigger bodies on smaller bodies. And then it allows for you to add numbers to the play side, which I like about it. Whether we run like a jet sweep, we add in a running back to lead block, whether we are running quarterback pin and pull, I think it allows you to add multiple numbers to the play side. All right, so just going to briefly talk about kind of how we teach it. Again, I kind of stumbled upon pin and pull. I've been researching just outside zone and was wanting to try to adopt that and marry that. And as we started doing it when I was at RGKO, we really wasn't having success with it the way I felt during practice. And again, I tried to find different ways to help us get the ball on the perimeter. And again, pin and pull was something that I found that benefited us and it allowed for our alignments to play to their strength. So the first thing, rules are really simple. So I'm going to start, again, I just did from the center over to the tight end. And just to explain to you how simple the rules are. So we call it the A and B rule. So if the defender is head up on you, you're going to man reach him. And the defender is inside of you, you're going to block down. If the defender is not head up or inside, right, you're pulling. Right, that's rules across the board. We even did this to the backside of the play as well, which you guys will see on film. But this year, I think we're going to work more zoning out to the backside. So give you an example of this. So just using, again, a tight end here. Anybody outside of his body, he's not going to declare that as the defensive end. Again, he's going to just block down. So, again, head up, man reach, inside block down. Same thing for the tackle here. Head up, man reach, he's inside of him, he's blocking down. Guard, head up, man reach, inside block down. And again, for the center, head up, man reach, inside block down. Again, if they're not head up or if they're not inside, then we're pulling. So we're going to try to get two pullers, and this normally happens where sometimes we run in odd structures, we can get three guys, but we're going to get two pullers to the perimeter, all right? The first pull is going to be responsible for the +1. We ID him as the first guy playing outside of the tight end. This is a play where you do have to have a point guy. We tried to run it at a 10 personnel, but it can get a little messy. And if you're playing some eye structures, they can kind of mess up some of the things and cause a little bit of confusion. So this is more so ran with a tight end. You don't have to have a physical tight end to run it, which is a beauty of it as well. But if you don't have a tight end, we always have an extra D lineman or O lineman that you can put out there. And so the first pull is going to be responsible for the +1, and the second pull is going to be responsible for the point, which is the play side backer, and we ID him right to the play side of the center. And then we normally call out their number so that way that they can understand where they're pulling to. I know sometimes this play can kind of get compared to buck sweep. I've played in the wing T system. I coached under the coach that ran the Gus Malzahn system, and pin and pull and buck sweep does have similarities, but they are different in a sense. And just to explain a little bit is that normally in buck sweep you have somebody cracking the point and you're trying to pull both those guards. And pin and pull, whatever lineman has the angle or has the cue to tell them that they're pulling or blocking down, right, they're going to be going. And we simply do this by having 2 calls. So if you're man reaching, that'll be a call. And then if you're pulling, that'll be a call. And we'll have different calls based off if we're running left or we're running right. So just want to talk about the block cues first of just how we teach our offensive linemen here. And again, we talk first about eyes. And then, of course, you got your feet. And then with your hands, of course, your hips going to align with that as well. So first thing is with down blocker, I was going to eye. So if I'm a left tackle and I got a 4-hour or I got a 3 technique, right? I'm going to play side via the neck, because if we're running left, then it's going to be that left via the neck. All right, my first step is going to be I'm trying to split his crotch. Again, trying to get an angle of a partial to split his crotch. And that depends based on how tight he is or how loose he is to you. And then that second step, we're going to go vertical through. Reason why we call it vertical through is because sometimes when you get super aggressive on the down block, I've been a D-line coach, you know what they're taught, fight pressure with pressure, right? So if you're down blocking the defensive lineman and they're fighting pressure with pressure and you have your weight leaning forward, right, they're probably going to throw you by through swim, moving, spinning, and getting to the front side, which is what you don't want. So we say vertical through because we still want to be try to be vertical on that movement. We're keeping our head on that play side. And that way, if he does try to come over top of us, he has to get a little depth, which allow for us to have a little bit more time for the back to get by. Our hands, and we talk about it from my inside and outside hand perspective. So again, if I'm a left tackle, right, my inside hand, my right hand is going to be on that through his sternum, and then my play side hand with my left hand is going to be that breastplate to the armpit. So we say armpit because we want to get in that fitted position right where those shoulder pads are, where we can be tight, hug them close to us, and not be called for holding. Our man reach, again, is pretty simple for us because we're not technically having to reach a guy that's off our body like a 5 technique because of where the tight end is. So this is more so when we have a 4 or we have a 0 or we have a 2 that's on us. So it's going to be play side via the neck. Again, our first step is going to take us an angle to the defender. All right, I don't really say where that is because depending on how big the offensive lineman is, his step is going to vary. So it's going to be set on the angle of the defender. So if he's tight to you, right, we want to kind of step outside of his outside foot. Our second step is going to be vertical through his crotch. Again, we're trying to get vertical through his crotch, and then inside hand is going to be going through the sternum. Outside hand is the armpit. Again, that inside breastplate. So that's kind of how we teach our man reach cues. And then the last one is our skip pull. So with our skip pulls, we're going to ID backer, whether that is the +1 or the point backer. Our play side foot is going to be our drive off foot, and then our backside foot is going to be our pull through. And we want to get depth and width. That way, if the down block is not stalemated at the line of scrimmage or have a vertical push and is pushed backwards of our line of scrimmage, getting depth and width will allow for the offensive linemen not to get caught up. And so these are the 3 blocks pretty much that you need throughout this concept. We like using these concept-based blocks as well because we run gap stuff. So it allows for our teaching to be simplified. Again, this year we struggled in areas just from youth. And so trying to be as simple as possible kind of helped aid us to having a little success towards the end of the year and kind of finding what fit our kids and what they could do well. All right, so I'm gonna go through some film here, just to kind of talk through some things. Again, you can run this out of various formations. So, a lot of people say, well, you can kind of get schemed on if you're running it because it's always off the tight end. That is true. But the thing about it is if you're using multiple formations, whether you're shifting, whether you go 12 and you got a tight end wing, you can kind of change that window look for those teenagers that's playing on the field. Again, you're not going against the defensive coordinator all the time. Our goal is to go against the teenager. And so this is us in just a trips and up look. And we're running pin and pull to the right. This tight end right here was he's a sophomore, but just to give you some background of kind of these kids, you guys know that you can kind of run this concept with, again, kids that don't have experience and kids that do have experience. He was outside receiver for us on JV. We moved him up after 8 quartering him. He was one of our best blockers. And so we said, well, let's just put him at the tight end to be the point guy. You guys are going to see his technique's not the best, again, because it's not something he worked, but just his will, right, to get his head to the play side and try to move his feet on the point of contact, allow for us to be able to get the ball to the perimeter. Again, the rules is if he's head up, you man reach, right? If he's inside of you, right, then you're going to block down. If he's not head up or inside, right, you're going to pull. If he's head up, man reach, you be step with your play side foot to the right foot. And if he is inside, you will block down for the center. And if the guard was uncovered, he will be pulling. Our backside guys are always going to work up to the -1. So in this situation, again, we talk about the point. We can push the point based off certain formations that we have. And we can push the +1 as well. So in this theory, we don't have an outside receiver. So we made this guy the +1. And then we made this guy the point backer. So again, in this concept, we're going to have 2 pullers, right? First one's going to be responsible for the +1. Second guy is going to be responsible for the point backer. So we'll let it play through. So again, looking at it, our tackle and our center is pulling, which tells me, and this also was beneficial for me because, again, sometimes you cannot see. The kids can always make each other right because they communicate. And that told me that these guys were probably playing 2-2s. This was kind of later in the game. And again, this play can get confused or can be talked about, or people can say it's buck sweep, but it's not. So one of the things, again, that people try to do to stop buck sweep is put 2-2s, put 2 guys over your guards, right? Try to get them in their hip pocket, try to create vertical movement so that way that they can get penetration in the backfield. Well, when they do that, it now opens up the window for us to put 2 different linemen on the perimeter. So tight end here, again, he's working. He doesn't step. Defensive end head is inside of him, but he's still trying to work his head outside. I'll let it play through. You can see my tackle go for the +1. Again, putting bigger bodies on smaller bodies. And our center, which was a small kid, he's probably about 6'1", 170, 75 pounds, right? He has a point. He doesn't get a great block, but he does enough to get in his way. Again, that's a successful play. He locked on the backside with the tackle. All right, here it is again. This time we did it from a different formation. We was in like a 12 personnel look. So we got a tight end wing. We're going to motion the wing. Again, this is one of our more explosive guys. So, of course, attention will be on him. And you guys will see kind of what it does. So, again, the defense kind of rotates over. Again, the ball snapped and the tight end hasn't even got out of his stance. But this, again, is to show you that even when you don't have athletes that have not blocked a lot, because, again, this guy's used to coming from receiver stance, blocking corners, blocking safeties, and now we're asking him to block a defensive end. This kid was really good that he was blocking. But his fight to try to work his head across creates movement. Now, this is not a good look for us because you're going to see that both the linemen don't block anybody. But I show this to you because sometimes just having that block at the point of attack will allow for you to get the ball on the perimeter. All right, the center kind of got in the way. And again, we was able to have an explosive run. All right, here we go again. This is against a odd structured team. And so what happens is whenever we go against a team that's a 3-down team and they're giving us like the 0-2-4s or 0-2-4 eyes, we always let the back know that the ball is probably going to hit under, right, that walk down or that apex defender because he's going to fit. And so what that means is that the tight end will normally be uncovered. He's not going to have nobody head up on him, and he's not going to have nobody inside of him. The only guy that's going to be inside him is going to be all the way inside, head up on his tackle. So we have a special call where we'll tell the tight end to block down on the 4, and we'll pull the tackle on the perimeter. That's what happens here. Blocks down on the 4 technique. We pull our tackle on the perimeter for the +1. Again, second pull is for the point. As you can see here, we don't do a good job on our man reach. Our head is inside of him, so he's able to work over the top. But you'll see how if a defense overplays this, right, even if it's penetration to running back's face, he can still stick his foot in the ground and bang it up the field. And that's what he does, sticks his foot in the ground and bangs it up the field. All right, so this is when we first started running it, when I was at RGKL, we were not skip pulling at the time. We were just opening up, pulling. So you know how everybody say crank up the line more, right? It was getting depth, but the rules were the same. This again out of a 3x1 set, but we have it closed to the boundary. But these guys getting that hill. We kind of went more to the skip pull because you'll see that a lot of times when we came in contact with defenders, it was half a man. It was probably inside of his shoulder. So defenses were able to kind of rally a little bit faster, and we couldn't sustain blocks longer on the perimeter like I would like. So we skip pulled. Another reason why we started skip pulling is because one of the things that kind of hurt pin and pull is whenever you get run throughs from those backers. And so one thing that we're kind of working on in this spring is doing what we call a skiff technique, where when they ID their backer and they skip pull, if he shows any vertical threat, that skip pull to get across to the front side is now off, and I'm going vertical through him. So I'm treating it just like I would treat a second level block on a linebacker. Or again, we'll try to combat it by running RPOs. But this was the team. They were like a 3 safety team at the time. They had guys inside again. So we had a call between the tight end and the tackle to let them know when, all right, he was going to be pinning and when the tackle needed to be pulling. Again, you see everybody open up. Now, right here in this picture, we got 3 linemen running downhill. All right, this is quarterback pin and pull. So we got a running back leading. So again, we're putting numbers to the play side. You just got to do a better job of getting up and getting on those blocks. So again, I want to show you guys some good and some bad of what it looks like. This is us running again out of a jet sweep look. So again, looks like we're in like a 12 personnel where we got like a tight end, you got kind of like a receiver in the stands, which would be kind of an H if you want to call it, but it's just a receiver that we use. And we're running jet sweep. Same thing, pin and pull. All right, now I would like, right, for the head of the tight end to be outside, so that way we could kind of be through on that second step, so he's not getting over top of us. But you can see sometimes just adding linemen to the play side can kind of cancel out that defender having a free run, because what ends up happening is when the guard opens up, he ends up taking the guy that the tight end missed. Again, we're able to string it out and get some positive yards there. Again, here we go again. We're in a 2x2 set, so we got a tight end down here in the boundary here. Again, we tell the tight end to declare the defensive end. So if he has a defender that's not head up on him, not inside of him, right, but is outside of him, we're not going to declare him as we're not going to declare him. We're just going to get up. We're going to get up to the next adjacent linebacker. So although they got this guy trying to play a little bit outside, he's doing nothing but slanting inside. So it's playing to our favor. He picks it up, that play side foot, he catches, runs him where he's going. Again, we're tight on that skill pool with the tackle. So we got the guard and the tackle to the play side. That guard could be a little bit more at an angle going downhill. But again, just getting bodies on a perimeter, putting bigger bodies on smaller bodies. All right, here we go again. We had a crack call, and again, if we had a crack call again, our receiver in this situation didn't crack the right guy, but we would be cracking that point backer, and he would literally take the path, crack him, trying to attack that outside shoulder, and we will stay kind of vertical because we know when he gets the pull action that he will be coming up top. Again, we missed this guy, but we ended up getting up to the other guy, and you'll see again, same thing, same tight end. This is again first game actually doing this, and this time he steps with his play side foot. Again, he's still trying to work his head. He gets his head outside, and he's doing all this without really getting any vertical movement. He stepped outside of his frame, and he just continues to press where he stepped outside of, replacing his feet. He's able to slide his head outside of him. Again, the tackle gets a skill pull, so he's responsible for that +1. He shows himself, and this is where it hits under. Now that second pull is a little too slow, but we also tell that second puller that you have to be moving because you have to get inside the block of that guard or tackle that's responsible for that +1. All right, here it is from the end zone copy against the same play, but you'll see how that tight end is working his head to that play side. Again, replacing his feet. You can see that tackle was tight. We got a man reach over here by the front side guard here. I'd like for him to get his head to the outside, but just because he's getting off the ball, head should be outside. That second step should be through the sternum. But just him being at the point of attack slows that defender down long enough not to make the play. All right, so here is another end zone copy of this. Again, we're running it. We kind of tighten down the splits of to the boundary. So our tight end is in a 2-point stance. Then we got our receiver in like an up position. You're going to see here how the defense is playing us. So again, they got a guy in a 2 technique. They got a guy outside of him, but his rules is, again, you got to be head up or you got to be inside. His rules head up inside. So again, he's going to be blocking down inside. And we told this receiver that you're going to take the first guy that shows himself inside of you. Again, we'll make this guy the +1. So we will have the tackle pulling again for the +1. But this is how, whenever your second puller gets up under that block, what it'll look like. So again, we had to pull our center. So with our center, the pull is a little bit different because sometimes it's a challenge for him. Snap the ball, skip pull, and then be able to get there fast enough to get under that block. So we will let him snap, pivot, open up, and then go. And that's what you see our center doing right here. He just snaps, opens up, and goes. So it kind of got cloudy. My tackle kind of got confused because they was kind of running like a pressure over here. So it ended up happening. He ends up taking the guy that our receiver should have took, and he should have actually took the guy out here. But you can see right here, the center still coming. Sorry about that. Center still fighting through that trash. So he's fighting over top of the trash. He gets inside. Everybody keeps their blocks vertical. And it allows for the running back to spring for a touchdown. So again, you can run this in multiple ways, and just showing you guys that sometimes the picture ain't a perfect picture, but versus sometimes stunts versus pressure, right? This also can kind of help you because sometimes it works out where guys, if they miss, those pullers pick them up and they can just climb up to the next defender. All right, here's another clip again. This is when we were open pulling. You can see how kind of the defense is playing here. Again, he has nobody head up on him, but it's like he has a guy inside. So technically, this guy would be coming here. We would take care of him with the offensive lineman, but I want to say he went up to the corner. Yeah. So here's our tight end on the pin. You guys see we block back. So this time we pulled our center, block back with the play side guard. And this is, again, vertical, trying to see if we get his steps here. Inside foot's going to be through the crotch. Second foot's going to try to be vertical through. His head's on the play side. So that means if he has to work over top, like this guy's doing right here, all right, the ball should pass by him, which it has already. Again, it's an easy block for the tight end. All you got to do is keep his hat to the play side here. Now he's getting replacing his feet. Got a guy going downhill, which want that tackle to be a little bit more aggressive on that pull and run their feet on contact. But that's, again, we're running quarterback pin and pull to the boundary. Here it is as well. Should have got called for procedure call. These guys aren't ready. But again, point of attack. He gets knocked backwards, but because we get depth on the pulls, we're able to fight downhill around it, and our running back's able to get vertical for some positive yards. So again, these are good and bads of what it looks like. All right, we also can add, like, you can add RPOs to it, whether you do, slants, where you glancing. We had added a speed out to the single receiver side over here. Again, this was a team that was running a 3-3 with a 3 high safety look. The quarterback should have just handed the ball off, but you can see how sometimes just the threat of the run can freeze a person up. He ends up throwing this out here because we caught that safety inside because of how he was running the ball against this team. Again, this gives you a better look. We did it out of a up position here, and I found that this is a little bit more challenging for the H-back. So one thing that we did start to do out of some of these formations is we literally made him angle like your traditional wing would in a wing tee to have a better angle on a down block. Now, with that, again, people would say, well, if you do that to that formation, that they'll know that you're tipping your hand on if you're running it. Well, we teach him how to run routes from that alignment too. It kind of can combat that from happening. But this is a little bit harder because we were open pulling of these guys having kind of a cloudy look. He did a good job of getting around it. Again, this is this tight end. Again, guys has never really did it. This was their first year doing it. His head should be outside of that guy. Again, this is what happens when your eyes aren't in the right spot. Again, they're running the stunt, but we end up, because we're open pulling, our center is picking up that backer. Another look here. So we got pretty much tight end, wing over here. Again, a point of contact, we seal. Get outside, we'll hook up on that +1. It's right here. We get through. This is a better picture. We had to pull the center again. So our tackle take the +1. Our center's right here. They're running some type of pressure right here. So again, there is no point. So if there is no point, and you're going to climb vertical to the next third level defender, that's what the center does. You can see the center seep through right here. It's climbing through, and he runs his feet on contact. And we're able to spring a big run. Again, here it is again out of the trip snubs look. We have it closed to that single receiver side, and we just run and pin and pull to the boundary. Again, if he's head up on the center, we tell the center, make you play side foot. You have to step with, and again, you just working your man reach rules. But you can see how we do pull on the backside as well. We probably shouldn't have had, if that tackle was pulling, we should have probably had that backside guard blocking back on that 4-eye. But again, we're able to pin that in inside with the tight end, get a bigger body on the perimeter. You see 76's kid ended up going to school, but this is his first year playing offensive line. He was a sophomore. Get to the +1, working to the point, and you have a successful run game. Here we go again, running again. Except again, we add the nuance of running the quarterback to the boundary. You guys can see they're closing down a lot on those gaps. So it looks like you got a 0. This guy is either in a 3 technique or he's like he's in a 4-eye. So our rules don't change. Again, you're going to be +1 point. Now, in theory, what we would have done, what we do differently, if that block is too far from the tight end, then the tackle's still going to take it. The tight end will climb up to the point, and that first guy half pulling out without a plus. But again, we don't do a good job of stopping penetration. But like I was going back to it, this allows you to have an advantage when you don't have an offensive line that's not your prototypical offensive line, whether they're inexperienced, they're small, or they're not strong enough. Just them having a body position of being in the way and getting those pins can allow for the ball to hit outside a lot faster, which it calls for you not to have negative plays. Like I said, one of the biggest things that we had issues with our negative plays was that we had run-throughs. But you see how you add the element of that running back, and we normally tell him you got the alley defender. We classify that as already. So if you got a corner out there, count the first guy inside of him, and you take that guy. Here we go again against the odd structure. This was our first game. It was our first year actually running it. Again, you'll see a tight end, and we got a receiver, but it gives you that tight end wing look. It's not your traditional H, just a wide receiver there. But some teams, when they do this, also, again, when you know that you're playing a team that it's like a slant angle where they reduce to the boundary, right? You know they're going to be slanting to the field. We kind of try to work on these things. These guys did a little stunt here on us. We was able to catch it. But again, with us pulling bodies on the perimeter, sometimes it works out for us when you have a looper that you technically should have got. See the tight end here, he gets confused. The tackle gets the guy slanting, so he just stays on him. Tight end gets kind of confused here, but we're able to kind of try to pick that guy up with those 2 pullers on the perimeter. All right, we caught the tail end of this, but we ran like a snug look at a 2x2. But you can see how you can build a wall with this as well. Again, this is going into halftime, so you got more of a prevent defense. It doesn't matter. We'll still try to run it. Again, they give us a 3-down look this time. Again, the tight end, his first step was terrible because he steps with his play side foot. He should have been stepping on his inside foot, which would put him in a better position. Probably should have been a hold too. But again, just to show we miss here. Again, this is a bad play. But just because the ball gets on the perimeter, when you have guys that can make plays, get the ball to them so they can make plays for you. We did terrible with both the first puller and the second puller, but the back was able to put us in a situation to make a positive play. All right, coach, that's all I got. You got any questions?
No, man, I love pin and pull. We used it primarily as a tag, like on the front side of outside zone, especially against odd front. If you got a 4-eye, tackle just
Right.
blocks down and the guard will just fold around. The backside is still zoning it. So we use it like that a lot. But yeah, I've used pin and pull a lot in my career. Definitely, I think it can have some answers and it's simple, like you said. It's very simple. Plus, you can
Right.
utilize that trip snub look. I love that formation. So that's really good
Right.
stuff. Yeah. Anytime you
Right.
can get a big boy leading on the corner is great.
Right. Anytime you can get, I call it. Anytime you can put a big body on a little body, you're good. Even when you're big bodies and little bodies as well, they're a little bit bigger than
Yeah.
secondary guys. But I know we're gonna try to play with zoning the backside of it as well, because I think sometimes we can kind of get a little cloudy when we do pull it from the backside. But we keep the rules exactly the same on the backside as we do on the front side. So it's been simple for us and haven't really had a lot of like assignment issues with running it.
Mm-hmm. Now, in general, let me ask you a couple questions. Just not necessarily about pin and pull, but for you, which front do you find more difficult?
I think, to be honest, sometimes the underfront can give us some issues, especially when you got that guy that's playing like that 7 technique, and he can kind of, if he's playing that tight end, but then you got the Sam or whatever you want to call him outside of him, that can kind of give you some issues because if that tight end can't set it right, it has to go inside, and if it goes inside, right, a lot of times those backside linemen aren't able to get there in time, so you're going to get a guy that's going to be able to either work under it or scrape over and hit it right now. So, and also, the 4-eye stuff, it can give you, I think like it can give you issues, but I think for us, it really only give us issues when they walk down like a C gap defender. Like when they walk him down on the line, but I like when they play him off of it because that gives us more time. I know he's a C gap fitter, but it just hits a little bit different when those guys walk up on the line of scrimmage.
I got you.
And then,
And then
go
yeah,
ahead,
go ahead.
sorry.
No, you
And
good.
then anybody that kind of give you like movement, sometimes it can kind of
Mhm.
mess you up a little bit. But I do like it because if they are, let's say they are sending pressure to the front side, well, they're going to be slanting where you down blocking. So if you can, what I'm saying, get some movement without having that penetration, you can take them where they're going. So it can kind of aid, with your line movement as well.
Mhm. What's your number one run?
So for us, it's been counter, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
That's been probably the number one run for us has been counter. We just trying to figure out as many ways we can run it. And but I mean, we've had success running it. I kind of forgot the coach's name, but he was at up in South Carolina, but he ran it more so the backtrack was like running like A gap power. Like he
Mhm.
ran like vertical down the center. And one thing that I found is when you do that and you have those teams that like to spill, because those backers are working so fast, get over top. If you do hit down the midline of the center, your running back gone. There's no backers in the box anymore because they're
Yeah.
expecting for you to bounce it outside, right? So like um that's been a successful run for us. But again, we've always, like for me, I just haven't been really blessed with having a prototypical offensive line, and that's with
Mhm.
experience and what I'm saying, size and strength. And so got to kind of play around with what the kids good at. I think we found out what they were good at a little bit too late on in our season, but now that we know, we can kind of, what I'm saying, expand a little bit more on it.
For sure, for sure. Coach, I appreciate you coming on, talking pin and pull. Anytime I can get some guys on talk about run game, yeah, I always will do that. But I appreciate it. Anybody wants to hit up Coach, right? He's on Twitter, right? What's your Twitter, Coach?
My Twitter it's crazy because I don't even know it. It's at Coach B Holmes. And
Yeah,
actually,
so yeah.
I'll share this with you guys too, Coach. I'll share my screen one time because I got my contact information on there.
Okay,
So
yeah.
if guys want, guys, I ain't freaking Vince Lombardi. I just like coaching football and pouring into kids. So that's
There you
my
go.
email and my phone number. If coaches want to get up, talk football. Again, I love learning. So it's more like speaking. I speak less and learn more. So like
Yeah.
guys like you, like I said, that's why I love the materials you have and the things that you share, because at the end of the day, that's how you get better as a coach.
For sure. Coach, I appreciate you coming on, and I'll holler at you next time, all right?
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.